In 170 AD, the Roman Emperor Marcus Aurelius fought a long and brutal war against the Germanic tribes. His legions were outnumbered, plagued by disease, and struggling in the harsh conditions. One of his most famous quotes originated in this dire situation: "The universe is change, our life is what our thoughts make it." With steadfast Stoic resilience, Aurelius rallied his troops, and they eventually prevailed against the odds. This anecdote powerfully demonstrates how embracing Stoic philosophy can help us withstand and overcome even the toughest adversities through perspective shifts. At its core, Stoicism teaches that we cannot control external events, only our judgments and reactions to them. By focusing our efforts inward on what we can control, our thoughts, emotions, and actions, we cultivate inner strength, self-mastery, and the ability to meet any challenge with equanimity. Ancient Stoics like Seneca, Epictetus, and Marcus Aurelius developed a timeless framework for leading a life of virtue, resilience, and freedom by separating what's within our control from what isn't. In this video, we'll explore vital Stoic principles and strategies that will empower you to stay strong no matter the challenging situations in life. Through inspiring stories from famous exemplars and everyday life, we'll learn how to reframe our perspective on adversity, build our inner grit and self-control, accept what we can and cannot control, find meaning and growth in difficulties, and ultimately live as a wiser, more resilient version of ourselves. So, if you're ready to embody the teachings of this ancient but profoundly practical philosophy, let's begin our journey into the tenets of indelible Stoic strength. Reframing our perspective: the universe is change, our life is what our thoughts make it. Marcus Aurelius. The first and most fundamental Stoic lesson for staying strong lies in how we view and respond to difficulties. Our perspective shapes our entire experience of adversity. Consider the example of Muhammad Ali, one of the most iconic and resilient figures in sports history. In 1967, at the peak of his boxing career, he was drafted into the Vietnam War. Ali refused to serve as a conscientious objector based on his beliefs and opposition to the war. This decision resulted in him being stripped of his heavyweight title and boxing license. He was even sentenced to 5 years in prison, which was later overturned. To the outside world, Ali's situation seemed bleak. His fame, career, and future were in jeopardy. However, Ali responded with a quintessentially Stoic mindset. He said, "I'm not going to be what you want me to be." He reframed his perspective. This was a challenge to his principles that he wholeheartedly embraced. During his legal battles, which raged for nearly 4 years, Ali spent his prime athletic years outside the ring. Most would have seen this as a devastating setback. Yet, with Stoic resolve, Ali used this time to spread his message, inspiring millions worldwide with courage and conviction. His apparent tragedy was transformed into a platform for his greater purpose. This ability to reframe our viewpoint is immensely powerful when faced with adversity. Challenges like failure, betrayal, or bullying become much more manageable when we shift our perspective. Stoics aren't discouraged by external circumstances, but forge meaning from them. As Marcus Aurelius taught, the universe is change, our life is what our thoughts make it. Some practical techniques to reframe your perspective in a more resilient Stoic way include: practical example, imagine you have been passed over for a promotion at work that you felt you deserved. From a conventional perspective, this could be a significant setback, unfair, demoralizing, and a roadblock to your career goals. A Stoic would approach this situation by separating what is within their control from what is not. While you can control your work performance, attitude, and efforts, the ultimate decision about promotion is out of your hands. There is no benefit in feeling resentful or angry about something outside of your control. Next, view the situation from a broader, impartial perspective. Is this a catastrophic event or just a temporary professional disappointment? Remind yourself that this is a small part of a much larger journey. One setback does not define you or your capabilities. Then, rewrite the narrative in your mind more rationally and resiliently. This provides an opportunity to have an open conversation with my managers, get feedback on areas for improvement, and renew my efforts. This single decision does not dictate my value and prospects. Finally, contemplate how you wish to respond going forward. Will you let this discourage you or motivate you to work harder and respond with grace and humility? A Stoic would display the virtues of self-discipline, reason, and stability in the face of this challenge. By reframing your perspective in this versatile, adaptable way, you transform a setback into an opportunity to practice Stoic resilience. Over time, taking this wise approach becomes a bulwark against adversities large and small. Strengthening the inner self, no person has the power to have everything they want, but it is in their power not to want what they don't have and to cheerfully put to good use what they do. Epictetus. At the core of Stoic strength lies inner fortitude, cultivating our reason, self-discipline, and virtue to remain unshaken by external forces. This governing principle is personified by the iconic boxer Mike Tyson's life journey. In his prime, Tyson was the most feared man in the ring, demolishing opponents ferociously. Yet outside, his life spun out of control into a vortex of excesses, drugs, alcohol, misguided attachments, and volatility. Tyson lost his way, by his admission, becoming enslaved by his undisciplined desires and impulses. Stoic philosophy helped Tyson rebuild himself from the ashes of his fallen empire. He said, "Discipline is doing what you hate to do, but doing it like you love it." Tyson embraced the Stoics' relentless pursuit of self-mastery over our judgments, emotions, and will. "Make the mind toughen it up" became Tyson's mantra, grounded in Stoicism's core ethos of using our reason to rule over destructive externals. This mental fortification enabled him to shed toxic attachments, regain his discipline, and re-emerge as a more grounded, purposeful individual. Men are disturbed not by things, but by the principles and notions which they form concerning things. Epictetus. The Stoics recognized that true freedom and resilience arise from within. No external circumstance can overpower you without your judgment's consent. By mastering our mind's interpretations and desires, we avoid being enslaved by misfortunes or temptations that drain our resolve. In modern life's trenches, we face innumerable battles that test our fortitude: insecurity from societal pressures, addictions to fleeting indulgences, and grief from profound loss. Lasting strength surfaces by continually fortifying our inner citadel of reason and integrity. First say to yourself what you would be, and then do what you have to do. Epictetus. This journey begins with diligently reflecting on the virtues and principles you wish to embody: prudence, justice, courage, and temperance. Then, remaining unwaveringly committed to living by that code, regardless of allurements or adversities. With a Stoic spirit of self-discipline and determination, we transform philosophical theory into tangible fortitude. Through the ages, those who weathered the roughest storms were rendered unbreakable, not by circumstances, but by their unconquerable mind. Developing our inner fortress in the Stoic tradition also allows us to emerge victorious in our struggles for resilience. Taking responsibility for what we can control, the chief task in life is simply this: to identify and separate matters so that I can say clearly to myself which are externals not under my control and which have to do with the choices I actually control. Epictetus. A profound key to Stoic resilience is distinguishing what is within our control from what is not and aligning our efforts accordingly. By consciously accepting the limits of our influence, we preserve our energy and calmness when facing life's inevitable adversities. One of history's most potent exemplars of this principle was the Emperor Marcus Aurelius himself. As a Stoic philosopher, he navigated personal tragedies, political turmoil, and military conflicts that constantly tested his resolve. Yet his writings in Meditations remind us to make the best use of what is in your power, and take the rest as it happens. Aurelius couldn't control the untimely deaths of 7 children and his wife. He couldn't control uprisings, plagues, or hostile forces threatening Rome. However, mastering his perspective and reactions, elements within his control, he ruled with grace and wisdom during incredibly turbulent times. The universe is change, our life is what our thoughts make it. Marcus Aurelius. In our modern experience, much of our suffering arises from attempting to control things beyond our reach: corporate battles that spiral into obsessive grudges, toxic workplaces we remain in begrudgingly, social media ridicule hijacking our self-worth. Applying the Stoic dichotomy of control, we recognize that others' behavior, circumstances at our jobs, and public opinions, none of these are ours to decide. What we can control is our intentional response: will we act with integrity, courage, and kindness, or indulge in unproductive lamentations. We have two lives, and the second begins when we realize we only have one. Confucius. This quote aligns with Stoic thought. When our reputations are publicly impugned, we cannot halt the flow of misinformation. However, we can maintain our virtuous character and conscientiously share the truth. If we lose our jobs unexpectedly, we cannot dictate the actions of others, only our skillful adaptation can do so. A profound internal liberation occurs by separating external events from our mind's judgments about them. We cease battling against external forces, instead channeling our energy towards our thoughts and intentional actions. Our mind's tranquility remains unperturbed by external adversities, for it acknowledges what is beyond control. Let us go. It is not the man who has too little, but the man who craves more, that is poor. Seneca. Stoic resilience thrives by living virtuously within our power, our thoughts, judgments, and actions aligned with reason. The serenity and focus gained by relinquishing control over externals free us to live our purpose unbound. Accepting what we can and cannot control, you have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. Marcus Aurelius. A vital pillar of Stoic philosophy, acceptance forms the foundation of true inner strength and resilience. By fully embracing our sphere of control while serenely letting go of what lies beyond, we cultivate profound peace amidst life's vicissitudes. Consider Nelson Mandela's epic struggle. Imprisoned for 27 years under an oppressive regime, Mandela faced harrowing adversities he could not alter: confinement, persecution, loss of freedom. Yet, he focused intensely on controlling his mind and spirit. In his words, "I am the master of my fate, I am the captain of my soul." Through this Stoic lens of acceptance, Mandela transformed his imprisonment into a period of reflection, growth, and unyielding fortitude. Despite physical captivity, his mind remained resolutely free. Upon his release, he emerged as a beacon of reconciliation, leading South Africa to peace and justice. You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. Marcus Aurelius. On a personal level, acceptance enables us to respond constructively to life's inevitable hardships: grief from losing loved ones, chronic illness, economic downturns, and broken relationships. When faced with profound loss, the natural response may be despair, anger, and resistance. Yet Stoic acceptance of what lies beyond our influence allows us to grieve healthily and find solace. Accepting chronic illness, we cease fixating on a cure beyond reach, instead focusing our energy on leading a fulfilling life within new constraints. Through acceptance, we find opportunities to grow and adapt. Reframing professional setbacks like job loss or business failure through Stoic acceptance frees us from self-pity and bitterness, enabling us to pivot towards future endeavors proactively. With acceptance, we gain clarity of purpose and actionable intent. The happiness of your life depends upon the quality of your thoughts. Marcus Aurelius. To embody Stoic acceptance practically, reflect on your response when faced with adversities outside your control. Acknowledge your initial emotional reactions: anger, sorrow, frustration, but let them pass. Deliberately remind yourself that the external event is beyond your control. Shift your focus inward on managing your thoughts, judgments, and intentional actions. View adversities as growth opportunities, not setbacks. Imagine the virtues you wish to embody in your response. By practicing acceptance, your calmness becomes an unassailable fortress against adversities beyond your reach. Inner strength blossoms from tranquil acceptance of what lies outside your sphere of influence, liberating you to live fully within what you can control. Embracing Stoic acceptance, we embody resilience to weather life's most turbulent storms. Finding meaning and growth in adversity, difficulties strengthen the mind, as labor does the body. Seneca. To the Stoics, adversity is not merely an obstacle to overcome, it is a fertile ground for growth, strength, and wisdom. Embracing this perspective allows us to transform challenges into opportunities.